The moment I saw a young adult South Asian woman whispering on the phone, I knew the truth was coming, and I wasn't ready for it.
I was cleaning out the hallway drawer, that one drawer where everything just ends up. Mail, old batteries, random keys. That's when I found it. An old keychain that wasn't mine. It had a small, silver heart charm, and engraved on it were initials that didn't match anyone we knew. I just set it on the kitchen table, figuring my wife would have a simple explanation when she got home. Later that evening, she walked in, laughing at something on her phone. She looked happy, relaxed, but then she saw the keychain. Her laughter just stopped. It vanished. She asked where I found it, and her voice was tense, like she was afraid of what I might say. I told her it was buried under all the old mail in the drawer. She forced a little laugh and said it was probably something she picked up by accident, maybe from a work event. But her voice wavered, just for a second. It was almost nothing, but I caught it. I decided to let it go, for the moment, but this tight knot formed in my stomach. That night, she was completely glued to her phone, smiling at messages she wouldn't show me. Every time I glanced over, she'd angle the screen away. When I finally asked who she was texting, she just said it was work stuff. But every time she put her phone down, it was always face down on the couch cushion next to her. She was sitting right there, but I could feel this huge distance growing between us, a gap I didn't know how to cross. The next morning, she left early. She said she had to meet a client, a really important one. Her perfume lingered in the air long after she was gone. It was stronger than usual, sharper, like she was trying to make an impression. It was a new scent, one I didn't recognize. Out of curiosity, I checked our shared calendar on my laptop. Nothing, no meeting scheduled for today. A knot of dread started to tighten in my chest. I called her office just to see. Her assistant answered, cheerful and professional. I asked if my wife was in, and she said no, she hadn't come in at all that day. My stomach just dropped. The little pieces were starting to connect, forming a picture I didn't want to see. I told myself not to jump to conclusions, to wait, but the uncertainty was eating me alive all day. That evening she came home, and that same perfume scent was clinging to her clothes. She kissed my cheek so casually, like she had absolutely nothing to hide. I tried to sound normal when I asked how her client meeting went. She hesitated, just for a moment. Then she said it went fine. That tiny pause told me everything her words didn't. Later that night, I walked past our bedroom and heard her whispering on the phone. Her voice was soft and nervous, a tone she hadn't used with me in years. The second she saw me standing in the doorway, she hung up. Just clicked the button mid-sentence. She said it was a wrong number, but her hands were shaking. That's when I knew. This wasn't just my imagination. Something was seriously wrong, far beyond simple excuses. The next day, I did something I never, ever thought I'd do. I decided to follow her. I felt sick doing it, like I was betraying some sacred trust, but I had to know the truth. She drove across town to a quiet restaurant near the lake. It was a nice place, scenic, but she parked in the back, tucked away like she didn't want her car to be seen. I watched from a distance, my heart pounding in my throat. A few minutes later, a man approached her car. He was smiling, this warm, familiar smile, like he knew her intimately. She stepped out and she hugged him. It wasn't a friendly hug, it lasted too long. They walked inside together, talking closely, their heads tilted towards each other, like the world around them had just disappeared. I couldn't breathe. I watched them sit at a corner table, shielded from view. They shared drinks, and she laughed at something he said, a laugh that used to belong to us. And then he reached across the table and touched her hand. He just rested his hand on top of hers. And in that moment, it was like watching my life, my world, dissolve right in front of my eyes. I pulled out my phone and recorded a short clip. Not for revenge, not to use against her, but for me, so that later I wouldn't be able to convince myself I had imagined it all. I drove home in total silence. My body felt like it was on autopilot. She didn't come home until late. She smelled faintly of wine. She told me her client meeting had run much longer than she expected. I just nodded, pretending to believe her, pretending I hadn't just witnessed every single moment of her lie. The next morning, I couldn't pretend anymore. I sat her down and asked her directly, "Who was the man at the restaurant?" She froze. Her whole body went rigid. She tried to deflect, saying he was just someone helping her with a personal project. The explanation was so flimsy, full of cracks. So I told her I was there. I told her I saw them together. The color drained from her face. She looked like she'd seen a ghost. She whispered, "What did you see?" I told her everything. The hug, the way they sat, him holding her hand. Her shoulders just slumped, as if the weight of the truth had finally crushed her. She said, "It wasn't serious, and somehow that hurt more, like it was just a casual betrayal." I asked her how long it had been going on. She couldn't look me in the eye when she answered. She started to cry, saying she didn't mean for it to happen, that she didn't know how to stop it. But I knew better. I told her, "You already made your choice, long before I found out." The room felt too small, like the air was being sucked out of it. She asked if there was any chance we could fix this. I just looked at her and said, "Trust doesn't come back once it's been buried under this many lies." She tried to reach for my hand, but I stepped back. She kept apologizing, desperate, but apologies couldn't rebuild the life she had shattered. I told her she needed to leave, just for a while so we could both breathe. She packed a bag, slowly, her eyes pleading with me to change my mind. I didn't. When she finally walked out the door, the silence that followed felt heavier than her presence ever had. The next few days were strangely calm. She sent long, rambling text messages, trying to explain, trying to repair what she'd broken. I read them, but I didn't reply. Healing wasn't going to come from her excuses. Healing meant accepting what happened and figuring out how to move forward without the lies. One evening, I was just looking out the window at the quiet street, and for the first time in months, the air in my own home felt honest. The truth hurts. Sometimes it hurts more than anything, but it also sets you free. And sometimes letting go is the only way you can hold on to yourself. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've ever been through something similar, know that you're not alone. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories. Stay strong.